Okay, Benny, thanks for joining us. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you
So
for having
excited
me.
to have you, of course. Um, Let me know if you can't hear me or if anyone is having trouble hearing me in their classrooms because I'm going in and out, I guess. But guys, we're so excited to have Country Day alum Bennie Fowler here with us today. Benny graduated from Country Day in 2009, and he is currently in the NFL, and he's done a lot of stuff, since graduating from Country Day. So we are going to get to hear all about that. But if there are students or teachers who have questions as we're going, feel free to put it in the chat. I will do my best to keep track of it, and we can ask Benny at the end. Um, so, Benny, I think we should just, take it back to where it all began, which is DCD. So, tell us a little bit about you in the upper school. So, like, besides football, what were you involved in? What were some of your favorite classes, teachers? Where did you like to spend time in the school building when you weren't in a classroom? Stuff like that.
Well, I love Country Day. The relationships that I gained at Country Day, the friendships, such as yourself and I, we have a great friendship and relationship because of Country Day. So, when I was at Country Day, I spent a lot of time with Miss Keeler in the library. She was my advisor also for a couple years. That's one of the people that really shaped me and who I am today. So I spent a lot of time in the library, partly because I was in her advisory, and that's where I like to spend a lot of my time. Let's see, some of my favorite teachers there. I had Miss Green. She was a Dr. Freed.
Okay.
Um, so that was math and also science as well. So that's where I spent a lot of my time. I love those teachers. Those are teachers that come straight to my mind. Also, my English teacher, Mr. Sadler, who I still keep in contact with, and Mr. Wilson, Coach Wilson. He also coached the football team. But I love the English classes, and I love writing papers and writing essays, which ultimately led to me writing a book that I just
Right.
recently released. So I'm super big into writing and reading. I'm reading a couple different books right now, and I've also
Oh,
read or written my own book. So I love to read, and I enjoy reading.
love that. So, were you more of like a commons room person or were you like a courtyard person? I know it sounds like you were a library person, but where were you hanging out?
It really just depends on, my first couple of years, it would probably be the art hallway is where I was
Okay,
hanging out. And then, as I became upperclassman, it was the commons room
for sure.
as well as the courtyard. I was all over. I was a social butterfly, so I was always
Of course.
connecting and making friends.
Yes, of course. Okay, so for those of you who might not know, Benny then went to go play football at Michigan State University. So tell us a little bit about being a college athlete and how you balanced that with school when you first got on campus.
Yeah, so I went to Michigan State, played football up there for 4 years. The way it was easy to balance college just because coming from Country Day, you have to play, your two sports as well as balance the workload and the student workload. So when I got to college, I was very well prepared on how to manage my time, because at Country Day you have the block schedule, you have your classes, and then you have your study breaks or study halls that you have that are kind of built in your free blocks. So in Country Day, it teaches you how to manage your time. So I learned how to manage my time, and when I got to Michigan State, I just kind of stuck with the same kind of routine that I had at Country Day, like using my free time to my advantage and, getting some extra studying done, or also, balancing my film and workload. And now it's kind of
Right.
just all football for me now, just because that is my job and that's what I get paid to do.
Right.
So now it's strictly all football. But when I was at Michigan State, our advisors, they did a really good job of helping us understand the importance of scheduling, but that also came from country as well.
Got it. Okay, that sounds really important. So, I know, of course, in this chat here, we definitely have some Michigan fans. definitely have some Michigan State fans. So Benny, tell us like what is it like since we're gonna get to watch that game in a few weeks?
Mhm.
What is that rivalry like? And kind of give us a sense of like the vibe and the hype that goes into a game like that.
Well, you know how I feel about this. I mean, it really just depends. On the outside, I don't know what it's like because I've only been, I wasn't
That's
a
yeah.
big Michigan,
Mhm.
I wasn't a big Michigan or Michigan State fan growing up.
Okay.
So when I committed to be a Spartan and I got to actually see it up close and in person, it's like, I mean, it is a really heated rivalry because for the Battle of the State. I only lost to Michigan one time. I beat Michigan four times in my career. So
Okay.
um, nobody from Michigan can really say anything to me about that rivalry um, because of the record I have against Michigan. But yeah, it's very personal.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it just depends on how you see it. I see Michigan; they disrespected me and my family, and that's the kind of the way I feel about it. So
Okay.
that's kind of why. So
Okay.
it really just
And
depends, but it's
enough
a
said.
lot of fun. It's a
Yeah.
lot of fun. But yeah, I blew Michigan out four times.
Okay. So is there any special preparation that players have before a big challenge or game like that that you could maybe share with Country Day students to think about as they're preparing for a big challenge?
I think the most important thing I would tell any student, any athlete, it doesn't really matter, is that regardless if it's a big game or a not such a big game, the next game is the most important game. So even if we were getting ready for Michigan, I'm not going to do anything extra because I want to beat Michigan.
Okay.
My preparation should always be the same, regardless if we're playing Michigan or Ohio State,
Mm-hmm.
Illinois. It doesn't really matter. The preparation should always be the same. So when you're facing a big challenge, you're going to come down, you're going to sink down to your level of preparation that you always have. And
Right.
it's always going to come down to fundamentals. So regardless if it's Michigan or whoever, you just have to be ready for that.
Okay. I got it. Okay. So you graduate from MSU. Great, great career at MSU. So walk us through your NFL career, kind of like to date. And if you could also too give us a sense of what it's like to be a rookie, because whether you're a rookie in the NFL or you're your first year on the job somewhere, there's got to be some similar feelings. So if you could kind of just share with us what you learned from that experience too, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, so I've been playing in the NFL for 7 years. This is my seventh season. My first 4 years were with the Denver Broncos. We won a Super Bowl with Denver. And then I played 2 years with the New York Giants, and now I'm playing with the New Orleans Saints. And then, when it comes to being a rookie, it's like, starting your first day at school. So,
Mm-hmm.
it is super nerve-wracking. Actually, it's super nerve-wracking every year, every team that you go to, just because all the teams are different, different walks of life. Playing with Peyton Manning, playing with Eli Manning, now
Right.
playing with Drew Brees. These guys are like in their 40s. So I've been watching Drew Brees and Peyton since I've been growing up, since I was at Country Day, and now they're my teammates. So it's kind of nerve wracking in a sense, just because it's like, man, these guys are so good, so talented, but at the same time, you just see it as a blessing. So when you're in a new situation, being a rookie, I would just say, or starting at a new school or a new job, reach out to people and
Yeah.
and try to connect with them, try to start a conversation, because the same fears that you might have, they have as well. And that's kind of what I've learned, is that
Yeah.
whatever you might be thinking, they're probably thinking that same thing. So we're all very similar as people, especially in new situations and new environments, but it's all about the relationships that you can make and connect with.
Right. I love that. I think that's really good advice. And just for everyone watching, like definitely keep that in mind because Benny is so right. I mean, everyone is basically the same at the end of the day and feels the same. So if you can find someone who has already experienced that, you can learn a lot from them. So, okay. So, Benny, you are somebody who always seems to come up with like the big plays at the right time. And so tell us a little bit about that mindset and like what do you do or like what kind of mindset do you think that takes to be able to kind of capitalize in the right moment?
Yeah, I feel like you have to stay ready um, at all times. And that's just coming down with, like you said, it comes down to mindset and being prepared. being prepared every single day for whatever situation. And, I'm a big person on meditation, being
Okay.
mindful, being in the present moment. I meditate every single day. That's something I got into a couple years ago, but mindfulness and being present, being aware of your surroundings and being aware of the things that you're asking for. If you think you're ready for a situation in sports, or you're ready for a situation to be elevated in a club or at your job, well, when that opportunity comes, you have to take advantage of it. So that's why I have to stay ready, because I know the things that I want in my life and that I want to come to fruition when I'm playing. So I have to stay ready. I can't just ask for those things, and then when the situation arises, I'm not ready to take advantage of it.
Right.
So I think just staying ready, mindfulness, visualization, seeing yourself acting out what you want to do. I kind of like act out the plays, or if I'm getting ready to give a speech, I act like I'm in front of a large audience, just so I can get that mental preparation, get that feeling in my body of how
Right.
I want it to feel when it happens.
Got it. Okay. Preparation is key. Um, okay. So Benny, let's talk about your book. I think, it's a great book, and I think a lot of students and Country Day students would be really interested in it. So tell us about your book. There's lots of great lessons in it that can help athletes and non-athletes. So tell us about the process of writing the book, why you did it, and kind of how you've been marketing your product.
Yeah. So the reason why I wrote the book is because, like we had talked about earlier, I've always been into, you know, the English classes and writing essays and being able to, get my point across. And I wanted to write a book to show people that regardless of where you come from, we all have the same 24 hours. Now, there are a lot of people who aren't that privileged enough, or who aren't as privileged as we are, to go to Country Day. So they have to go to other schools, and they don't grow up in the same environments that we grow up in. But I want people to understand, regardless if you go to Country Day or wherever you go to school, we all have the same 24 hours. And whatever you want to achieve, there are certain principles that you need to have, like setting goals, handling adversity, handling success, surrounding yourself with the right people. So I think that's super important. And I think the best chapter in the book is, you don't have to be an athlete to make $1 million. Some of the most successful people that I've ever met in my life are not professional athletes. And some
Right.
of the people who are the most well off aren't professional athletes. Now, don't get me wrong, being a professional athlete is a lot of fun, but I do want people to understand that. And that's one of the principles that my parents drove home for me. And then going to a school like Country Day, you understand that there are so many things out in the world. You create your own future. And I want, the kids at Country Day to understand that whatever you want to achieve in life, you can do it. Whatever you want to set your mind to, you can do. And that's the reason why I decided to write the book. So it took me about a year and a half, 2 years to write it. I had somebody help me with it. And right now I just market it on Facebook. But it's more like a business card, because I want people to understand that I am more than an athlete. I'm not just an athlete. I am now an Amazon best-selling author. I am now a high performance coach. I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm multifaceted.
That's awesome, Benny. I love that. I didn't know that you were a high performance coach. What does that mean?
So, you just help people. I help people understand. I use what I use in sports to help people in business, and to 10x their growth in terms of the mindset they need to have. Who do they need to be, or where do they want to go? Help
Mm-hmm.
them set up a strategy for who they want to be 2 years from now. Like, if I'm talking to you, what do you want your life to look like in 2 years? And then we reverse that. We reverse engineer that, and then we come up with a plan and action steps for you to take every single day, every single month, to get to that goal. But I don't
Wow.
want people just to set goals that they know they can hit. I want you to set some goals that scare you a little bit, that you don't think is possible, and then we make it possible.
Love that. Just before we move on, I have a quick question. So, for any students who are watching this and they're thinking, well, I love sports, but I don't think I can be a professional athlete. I don't know if I want to be a professional athlete. What are some other jobs besides being a coach that someone could do for a professional sports team?
Nutrition.
Okay.
You got fitness. You got recovery. I mean, so I could just go through all the people who help us on our team. You got the athletic training staff.
Hmm.
We have a sleep coach. We have a high performance coach. We have consultants for, the business aspect of it. We have life coaches, psychologists. I mean, so it's so many different things, doctors. So, I mean, there's
All
so
right.
many things that are involved in just a professional sports team on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Okay. So,
I mean, look at
Benny, how?
Steve Ballmer, Country
Right.
Day alum, owner of the Clippers.
Right. Great point. How can students get your book? And I know we kind of talked about like goal setting and things like that, but is there a specific part, if they do get it and they're reading it, that you think that they should really hone in on?
They can get the book on Amazon.
Okay.
That's where it's at. So the book is on Amazon. And if they had to focus on anything throughout the book, it would just be discipline. And the things, sometimes those days, the things that you don't want to do are the things that you need to do. Sometimes it's hard to study that 30 minutes every day instead of just waiting until the week before the exam. Just that 30 minutes every day, that's going to build up over time. So just building that mental muscle is just something that's super important, but that just comes down to discipline. And
Right.
that's something that I've learned from, Country Day, but athletics as well, because there are the days that I don't want to practice. There can't be a day in the NFL where I don't want to practice, because you can
Right.
lose your job like that. So
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know if you remember, Coach Keener used to say, discipline is doing what you have to do when you have to do it every time. And I think about that a lot. So, Benny, discipline is so key. So, thank you for
yes,
bringing that up.
yes.
Okay, so I have one more question, and then if anyone else has questions, we can totally get to those. But what are your goals while you're in the NFL? And then what are your aspirations for when you retire from the NFL?
My goals right now, I just take them year by year. So right now, I'm just trying to do everything in my role to help us win a Super Bowl. So I'm trying to get my second Super Bowl. So my daily actions every single day is just taking care of what my position group wants me to do. Doing the small things, diet. So eating right 6 days out of the week. I always have a cheat day.
Okay.
Um,
Wait, what is your favorite cheat day food?
it really just depends. Man, Chipotle. It could be a pizza. It really depends on the day. um, but yeah, so just taking care of my role, eating, taking care of my body. So I got a massage. I got some needles in my hamstrings and things like just the small little things that I don't like doing, especially those needles. But just taking care of that and win another
Okay.
Super Bowl. And then I'm going to take it year by year. Next year will be year 8. And then I'm trying to get to 10, but we'll see. And then life
Okay,
after
that's a good goal.
football. Yeah, a life after football will continue to serve other people through keynote speeches, giving back to Country Day, um, helping people with what they need to leave in Country Day, like going to college. What do you want your plan to be? And helping them be able to navigate and shift, when life happens, basically. And doing that with also retired NFL players, helping them have a vision for life after football so they can transition and not just identify with just being an athlete and identify as more.
That is so cool, Benny. Thank you for sharing all that with us. Okay, before we go, does anyone have any questions? If any of the classrooms want to come off mute or type them in the chat, um, go ahead. I will give you guys a couple minutes.
Okay, raise your hand if you do have a question.
Okay. Make sure to speak loudly. Okay, yep, go ahead.
Uh, Go ahead, say yours. It was a good one. Go ahead, say it loud, nice and
Play
loud.
any other sports?
Did I play any other sports? I played basketball at Country Day, and I also ran track. So I won a state championship in basketball and track at Country Day.
William, what's your question?
Great question.
What?
Do you have kids?
Do I have kids?
Yeah.
No, I'm a dog dad, though. My baby boy Simba, I have Simba.
Where is Simba?
He's in Denver.
Oh. Anyone else have other questions? Perletto's class?
Right here. Lexi.
Did you know my mom or grandma?
You gotta
Who's
say your name so we can.
Oh, I'm like,
Say
Your
your
mom or
mom and your
grandma?
grandma's name. So
my mom is Ann Kingsbury and my grandma is Miss DeVogel.
Yes, I knew Mr. Vogel. Yeah, I used to be in Mr. Vogel's art class. You can tell I
Great
say
question.
hello.
Thank you for asking. Anybody else?
Did you learn about Spanish?
Yeah, I took Spanish class. I got all the way up to Spanish 3 at Country Day.
Wow, Benny.
Mhm.
Have you ever heard of my mom, Mary Kenny?
Yeah, I remember her.
You have Mrs. Kenny?
we got a lot of students in here with family members that teach at Country Day.
Oh, okay.
Love that. We're doing the rounds. Anybody else? Time for one more. Okay, well, thanks, guys. We appreciate you tuning in. Benny, thank you again for doing this with us today. You're the best.
Oh, you're welcome.
And guys, if you want to check out Benny's book, it's on Amazon. Benny, remind us the title.
Silver Spoon, The Imperfect Guide to Success on Amazon.
Awesome. Thank you, Benny.
You're
We'll
welcome.
talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you.
Bye.